This is a 1989 Cadillac Allante, and we're going to replace the alternator. Alright, so this is a 1989 Cadillac Allante that does not have the Northstar. It has the other engine. There's two versions. One has a smaller liter size, but either way, this is the middle one, I believe, because it's 89. And we're going to replace the alternator. So you can see it has the top. If you see these 8 ports right here, it'll be this one. The Northstar, I think, has a plastic cover. But the videos I saw on YouTube were all of the 93 with the Northstar, as you can see here. So I decided not to ignore this and at least record. Here's my new alternator. There it is. And this is my breakdown. If somebody has lost their... if somebody has not paid attention to the breakdown of the way the belt goes, take a screenshot of this right here because it'll help you. But basically what that is this is the engine pulley, and it goes over here and it goes above and then this way, and then here's the power steering. This is the tensioner, and then this is the alternator right here. It goes over, and then this little one tightens it. If you need that, there you can screenshot that. So here's the alternator. This is going to be the power cord, and then these two bolt onto it, and then it just plugs in. First thing you want to do is disconnect the battery. My battery, I've moved it since I added some speakers and a stereo in here. I'm going to disconnect the battery. Probably leave it there and just disconnect it, and then that way I won't get any spark or mess up. We disconnected the battery, which was step 1, and what we found was the tensioner here. If you look over, for taking off the alternator, this is going to give it tension. It has a little square right here, and that works really good for these. So you can see this little size right here fits good. And what's cool is it goes right in here. You can back up a little bit and so they can see the whole thing. So right when you put it here, if you notice when I pull on it, it pulls this pulley out. And what it does is it lets you take the tension off, and now you can get the belt either off here or off here. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go look for a piece of wood, because once we let all the tension off, I think it's gonna push back and maybe even hit over here. So I'm going to get a little piece of wood to put here. I'm going to come back and pull the tension. I'll take the belt off, and then I'll start disconnecting here. Then now, I'm going to try to just let that sit right there, and then I can get this other part off. Okay, so we're taking this off just because it'll help us get a little bit more room. So take that bolt out, move this guy out of the way. That does not look factory. So pull it up. Actually, I don't think I need to disconnect. I think I can leave it right there. I tuck my belt so it doesn't fall all the way off. This is a 10, and that's the power cable for the back of the alternator. I'm going to put it up here, flat spot. This one is also a 10. So those two are up there. Now, the power cable's off. If you come around, I'll show the power cable. Let me see here. So this is it here. And I do disconnect the battery, right? So that's there. Just took it out of the way for right now. Now I gotta work on these two. And once I get those off, I'm gonna work on the front two. Okay, so down in here, there was this bolt on. This was on the back here. Took that off. There's 2 more cables here. Those come off. And then I'm gonna take off this bigger bolt, and we should be done there. Then we gotta get a wrench in for here and find the size for this one. This is the other cable here. Okay, so we have this last bolt coming out. I think it was a 15 on the front side, close to the tensioner. But as I pull it out, I'm gonna set it over here with everything else. The alternator should just have 1 plug on the back of it. So right here is the plug. I just take that off, and then now the alternator's out. So old one over here, and a new one right here. So rip the little tag off, take the little plastic off the front. There we go. Same direction that the other one was in, which is I think this way. And put it right back in there. We're gonna plug this in. So the plug goes in, and we're gonna make sure it snaps. I'm gonna go in the same order that I took them out. This long one goes here. Okay, so on the new alternator from, I think we went to AutoZone, the right wing, they have 2 wings. So over here is the old one. On the left wing here, or right, whatever you want to consider, this This is a bigger bolt pattern. As you can see, it goes in with this one fine. That's what was in there. And it's kind of a bolt that has a head in the middle of it. Or it's a threaded rod that has a bolt welded in the middle of it. So you can tighten this part down, then you can tighten on top of it as well. Unfortunately, that is not the same hole size on this one. So the newer one has a lot smaller hole size. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bolt down and just put these other cables here, and hopefully we're going to get a good enough connection and a tight enough seal, and then when we do that we should be good. Okay, so what we decided to do was we're putting it back in. We're going to plug this in here. The newer one, like I mentioned before in the video, has a different size hole, and this is really soft, like pot metal, shitty aluminum, whatever the hell it is. It's even so soft that just me turning by hand, it took out some of the threads and it's tearing it up. So what we're going to do is go with a lot smaller one that just goes through. It doesn't even use the teeth, and it's actually just going to hold on with a washer and another bolt. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this down. I do have the plug in, and now I'm going to go through here. These two, I have a washer already on. I'm going to go through there, and I have a little bit of space to put my washer and then my nut on and just tighten down. And that's, I guess, the best way for us to do it. Here's the power that is connected. I do have both of these wires back on this bolt. This one is tight, this one's tight, this is tight, and then this is the other side that now it's just the way it's positioned is a little different. There's not a nut that goes on there. So notice the pulleys that have no threads, you know, those don't really have a position, but it's extremely important to get. There's 6 lanes of rubber that have to go in the grooves. There's 6 grooves, and that belt has to be right. This middle one here does not have any threads on it. This tensioner pulley doesn't have threads. The alternator has threads. This is another pulley that doesn't have threads. The engine one, I think this is the power steering pump, and I believe that's the AC in the middle here. I want to say that's the AC pump, but anyways, there we go. Should be back together. I'm gonna put this antifreeze box back in. It just screws in with one little bolt and sits there. I didn't have to disconnect the hose. I just lifted it out of the way and turned it. But we should be back together, and then I will crank it up, see what happens. Put some safety goggles on, standing far away.